Good day, everybody. It is me, your host, Kitten, or KittenPhobic, and today we have somebody new joining us. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, what's up? My name is Yami. I also go by EdgyRivalCosplay. I am a cosplayer from Florida. I've been cosplaying since 2008. I think my first convention was YasumiCon 2008. Yeah, it's been ages 13 years, I think, at this point. I primarily cosplay anime, occasionally video games. Yeah, I've done maybe like 30 or 40 cosplays at this point, but all with it's been a long time, so yeah, that kind of comes with the time. And I first got into this through roleplay, actually. Online roleplaying, I had friends who talked to me about cons or whatever and cosplaying, and they sent me pictures and stuff of conventions. Actually, the first time was this Tamari cosplayer she was like from the Baltimore area or something. So it was like Otakon. She sent me some pictures from Otakon, and she's like, "Oh, you should try doing this at some point or another." But I live in Florida, so it's like, and I was like a teenager at that point, so I'm just like, yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. But I will look into this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, you looked into it.
Spoiler alert, he looked into it and he liked it.
Yeah.
Did too much.
And so, who do we have joining us today? Who's our cast today? We got Yami, we have Egg.
What's up, people? It's me, ya boy, Egg.
We have Iggy joining us today as well.
From past land.
And hi Les, how you doing?
Hello, what's up?
Hi, and so today we are actually going to be talking about con etiquette and con survival guide, because with things starting to go back to normal, cons are opening up, and I bet that there's going to be a lot of new people probably going to conventions for the first time. So just to recap from our last episode, let's go over kind of what the con culture is like for everybody. Egg, do you want to start us off?
I mean, in all honesty, the con culture here in Texas is probably like Florida, just I would think slightly more chill, with the exception of one convention that will go unnamed. If you know, you know. But I mean, it's the general, don't touch the cosplayers, cosplay is not consent, all those good things like that. How about Laz? How's it going?
Same stuff, cosplay's not consent. I forgot what I even said last week. What did I say? Cosplay's not consent. Con culture is all over the place in Florida. It's fun though. It's a lot of fun. And
Florida has famous cosplayers. We don't have those.
We have too many. You have a couple in Texas. Yeah, we have too many in Florida, and because we have a lot of popular ones, there is the culture of popularity kind of going along, and a lot of like cloudy thingies, but it's not terrible. You can still enjoy yourself, but it also creates a really kind of interesting type of environment for things when you've got a lot of popular people standing around in one convention.
What about you, Iggy? What's it like over there in Italy, con-wise?
Yeah, pretty much the complete opposite of whatever everybody said, because we're kind of the rednecks, of the cosplay world. People do touch your cosplay continuously. If you have a wig, people will touch it. Please don't. And usually people don't even stay away. I remember during some cosplays with my pyramid head, people kept like being very close. And when you're doing the version from the game, you have a lot of body paint. So by the way, stay away from people that have body paint on, like completely. Even if they sealed their body paint, you don't know that, and you can be very upset at the cosplayer for no reason, even though it's you that actually bumped into them and have this streak of multicolor on your clothes. So please, if you want to do a picture with a cosplayer that has body paint on, like hover around them. Don't touch them, because you don't know how much they seal that body paint, or how much they didn't, or how much they put on, because I've seen people that put on so much, referring to the Homestuck mainly, paint that essentially they become essentially something that should be in a museum for how much paint there is on. They look like a painting, essentially. But yeah, usually people here can be very nice in that regard. They do pay somewhat of a respect, but we don't have that much. You do find cosplayers that try to exchange contacts and exchange, we call them, tips and bits of trivia about their costumes. And you do find the occasional a-hole that essentially just doesn't want to even tell you what it did to make his costume, which is prerogative. You know, it's nothing bad. But of course, in a world where people try to go up and better themselves, it's kind of bad to do.
All right. And for myself, I live in Canada, so I am from Canada, like I said, and the cosplay community here is quite friendly. I don't think it's very drama-filled, from what I know, but I just moved to a bigger city here 4 months ago, so that could change. So with a lot of people going back to cons, what do you think that they could expect, like, emotionally from other cosplayers when going to a con?
Okay, so the way cons are in Florida, yeah, kind of like, I mean, I think there's like two different versions of this, because it's like you have the smaller cons, which are more tight-knit, and it's more of just people, just a lot of newcomers and a lot of like a younger crowd just going over there to have fun. It's their first con, their first time cosplaying. Then, you know, everyone, like in the smaller cons, it's like everyone there's trying to have fun in a way, versus some of the more like reputable, maybe not bigger, but yeah, some of the bigger and more reputable cons, like I think Matsuri or maybe like MegaCon or something, where it's like Glass was saying, there's a lot of like clout chasing in those conventions. You know, it's kind of weird, because sometimes you kind of get treated differently depending on your follower counts. And, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, the Florida man meme is real, even in the Florida cosplay community. Like, people do act, you know, dramatic and crazy in certain ways, you know? Like, I mean, like, there's people who've been arrested at conventions for doing, you know, things that they weren't supposed to down here. Oh, and I'm sure it's probably not just a Florida thing, but yeah, the Florida community is kind of wild.
I feel like I hear a lot about the Florida community, even as a Canadian cosplayer, that it's just it's a crazy thing, you know, with everything that goes on. So, like, what do you, like, expect, like, emotionally, like, from other cosplayers when going to a con? Like, as a convention, or as a cosplayer yourself?
As far as what I'm expecting when I go back to conventions, not too much as compared to you guys. I haven't been to quite as many conventions, but what I am expecting is seeing some of my convention friends that I haven't seen in person in well over a year, mostly because I tend to go to smaller conventions. I'm actually going to the biggest convention I've ever gone to next weekend. Don't worry, everybody, they are enforcing full CDC rules. They're trying to make it as safe as possible. Masks on the whole time. But I mean, even some of my cosplay convention friends from here in Texas are going to be there as well. I'm so excited to see them. Like we talked about last time, I'm so excited to walk around in costume and see people's reactions and talk to people who I wouldn't like normally just go up and talk to, you know, outside of a convention. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited just to socialize with my people, you know, with people who like the same. Yami and Laz, what about you two?
Okay, I mildly forgot the question.
What do you expect, like, emotionally from other cosplayers, like going back to cons and stuff?
Okay, that's where we're at. I needed it repeated to get my brain back together. In terms of emotionally, like, it's huge. It's its big own thing, because we've been gone from cons for a while, although Florida was probably one of the first states to actually give cons back. But now we're in full swing. We had cons 3 weekends in a row, and I guess already I didn't go to any of them, but I'm sure emotionally, like, people are coming back. The big emotional trip is going to be Hallmat, because that's our biggest con for everyone, like, across the states, because we get so many people coming out of state into Florida to Orlando for Hallmat, because that's going to be a big one. And with that cosplay contest competition, I'm sure after pretty much 2 years of not having Hallmat, Holiday Matsuri, like, we are going to probably see people bringing out their A game, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you think with Matsuri, do you think you're going to get those costumes that people have worked on for 2 years and then, the year after you're going to get a little bit of a downgrade?
I doubt it. People.
And what about
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, people for Hallmat, they're bringing out crazy ones. Like back when we last had it, 2019, it was big. It was really big. And people really only had a year. So I think the 2 years just gives people a chance to work at a better pace, honestly. But, as things change and cosplays change and trends change, it's gonna the quality will always go up and up and up.
And what about yourself, Yami? What do you expect, like, emotionally from other cosplayers when going back to cons?
Honestly, my biggest thing right now is that I'm hoping people, follow, the CDC regulations, like that's my biggest thing right now. I'm hoping that people are, gonna do their best to prevent, the whole COVID thing from spreading, and that's one major thing. Another thing is obviously I want to see all my friends again, and I'm like, that's kind of what I'm expecting from them. Expecting to see them and meet new people, because that's always fun. That's kind of what the major things I go to cons for, is literally like to socialize. Meet other cosplayers, meet other people with common interests, similar to what Egg was saying. And as far as what you mentioned earlier about cosplays, yeah, I'm sure I've already seen it. I've already seen cosplayers who have been working on new costumes since this whole epic thing started, and so I'm expecting to see a lot of things, especially at Holiday Matsuri, because at con it's really like known here. Like it's known here for having really like big and flashy cosplays. So I'm expecting to see a lot of that at Holiday Matsuri. Yeah.
And Iggy, what are you expecting?
When I call back to cons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll sign like a meme.
I just
right
want to
now
make a
about-
disclaimer, because I know I talked about like the drama in the Florida community and stuff like that earlier. That's not to say that cons like Holiday Matsuri are not fun, because I love Holiday Matsuri. It's literally like my favorite con in Florida. So yeah, no, these cons can be fun. That can be fun. Mega Con can be fun. Like a con is really what you make of it, in my opinion. For the most part.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And
Yeah, Iggy, you were saying?
So yeah, essentially I'll sound like a meme right now. You guys are getting cons? No, but in reality I do have a couple of cons coming up, but I'm not gonna participate into them, because believe me, here in Italy we still have the pandemic still going and stuff like that. So I don't know. There are a couple that are open, especially where I am, but I don't think that it's time for me to go back to them yet. Even though it's been 2 years, when I go back, I do expect to find myself with other cosplayers. Emotionally, I think that the best part would be just hanging out and finally feel free to just mess around in the whole place. And because at the end of it, there isn't many games there isn't many stuff that you can do aside probably from the contest. You just hang around, probably get a brewski or two, and and just enjoy time there, because that's what cons here are. There is not much network, as I already said. There is not much talking. There's just hanging out in cosplay. There are those associations, like there's an association here called Midichlorians, which is for like lightsaber sword fighting, that I participated for like a year and then left away because it was pretty much useless. But they do live up the con, which is always nice. So yeah, that's pretty much what I expect. Essentially, just have fun. And since again, I don't have much drama here in my area, undisclosed pasta area, it's pretty much just enjoying everything that you made, even if many of the times are just melting off. And I do think that people like in Texas and Florida understand this, when it's like 100 degrees and you're melting off because you want to bring that character is extremely hot to bring out because there is a lot of, I don't know, gear. I once wore, like in full August, a fur, so there is always something that can make you melt off. But for that, there's just that determination of doing something. So that's what there is to expect, especially emotionally.
I think it's like the opposite in Canada right now. You guys are like, oh, it's so hot. Usually with us, it's so cold. I don't know if I can continue.
I need
like
me some
that-
Canada.
I like that wearing seasonally inappropriate cosplays is a universal experience. And I say this like I'm not going next weekend in 2 costumes where I'm covered legitimately head to toe with gloves, petticoat, full-on armor cosplay, and it's going to be over 100 degrees. Save me.
My career, I never had a seasonal like I never had a winter like a summer costume at all. Never.
For us, it's like cute little crop top and like anime girl like school uniform, and it's like -40 outside. And it's like I don't leave a convention center when it gets to be that cold. But like emotionally coming back from cons, because we haven't even gone back at all yet. I think the first one that I'm skipping is coming back next month. I'm actually going. I'm pretty sure I'm LARPing the weekend it is happening. So I won't be going to that one. But because it hasn't come back, I'm expecting again the A game for cosplayers to be up, and I think that we're going to see a lot of what happened in the early years, because there are going to be a lot of new cosplayers coming into the scene with, having nothing to do over 2 years. You kind of have people who have just gotten into the hobby, and, you have a lot of young kids who have gotten into that hobby. So I kind of expect the return of, a little bit of that, like the Homestuck culture. As the only way that I can put it.
I wouldn't really say it was the Homestuck culture so much as it's going to be pseudo 2008 era conventions again, and I saw a little bit of that already, just a little bit though. And I can't blame it. I can't blame them too much because they're young, they're kids, they don't know.
Yeah. But that's to be expected. It doesn't matter where you go. But that being said, what kind of self-made rules do you all personally follow at conventions to kind of keep yourselves in line?
As far as self-made rules go, and I'm going to bring up something a little less like rule of thumb, how to talk to people type thing, and more of a sort of personal thing. But I am a diabetic, so my unspoken rule is keep food with me at all times, because it can get really, really bad, and con food is too expensive. But as far as rules for, like, conduct, if somebody's, like, if a cosplayer I want to take a picture with is cosplaying, is talking to somebody else, I mean, I'm not going to run up to them and interrupt their conversation. That's really rude. I will, however, say that if it's like a 4-year-old running up, you cannot get mad at a 4-year-old. They're too young. They legitimately don't know. But what I would do usually is if it's a smaller convention, which is pretty much all the ones I go to, I'll make my rounds of like the dealer's hall, come back in a couple minutes, and then if the cosplayer I wanted to take a picture with is still there, and they're not otherwise occupied, I will be like, hey, can I take a picture with you? And stuff like that. Other conduct things is I don't touch people without their consent, and it's 99% of the time it's verbal, although sometimes if you know somebody well enough, you can tell when they're going in for a hug and stuff like that. And I mean, that's fine, although you shouldn't really hug people right now, given everything. Fist bumping is absolutely...
Hug everybody.
I wish. I love hugging. Hugging is wonderful. Other self-made rules I follow personally. So one thing I tend to do, because I wear cosplays of Metaton a lot, and my widest one is nearly 6 feet across, and my narrowest is still a little over 30 inches. I always have I always have somebody with me just so I'm not knocking into people, and I do tend to walk sideways 75% of the time, which is to the absolute amusement of everybody else at the convention, especially the artist alley and the dealer's room. But, I think it's pretty funny too. Other convention, and this is just me, don't pull your phone out during a panel and start, like, texting and stuff, while you're in a panel. That especially if it's a small panel where the person giving the panel can see you. That's not cool. Don't, like, run around screaming. And this is one for the youngins out there, and I'm only saying this because I was guilty of that when I was like 13 to 15. You can, mimic the character, but there is a line, and you shouldn't keep, unless it's like your thing, because there is a guy here in Texas who his entire cosplay thing is that he does a insanely good imitation of Johnny Depp, but he's a more method actor type thing. But don't do that high-pitched anime glomping. There's people out here who have no idea what glomping is, and I am not going to explain it. And then a specific thing I saw at my last convention, don't crawl around on the floor. Floors are gross to begin with. Now it's even worse. Please do not crawl around on the floor. Please do not put your small child on the floor. There's a lot of people. I don't want to step on a child. I don't think anybody else wants to step on a child. But off the top of my head, I'm sure there's others, but I'm beginning to blank right now. I'm gonna go ahead and pass the torch to Laz. You're probably gonna say some stuff that I'm not thinking of, but Laz.
Alrighty. Yeah, so general con etiquette. Oh my god, small children, they will get trampled on. Please don't put your small children on the floor. Please keep watch. That's a deal of parents needing to be responsible at that point. I mean, you mentioned glomping, and I feel like a lot of people still know it, because what did I do? I saw in my classroom the other day on Thursday, one of my kids and one of my students, they just clomped each other, like ran up big hugs and everything. And
That's still a thing?
it was so cute. I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart. It was character day too, so it was fun.
I was right. It's becoming 2008 again.
No, I think they know what it is. Everyone knows what it is. It might have a different term. I don't think so. I think the term is still the same, but it was still really cute. Just those big jumpy hugs. Definitely have to mind your space, mind your people. At the end of the day, people are going to touch people. You're going to come in contact with people. Just be responsible about it and who you want to give your hugs to. I am unfortunately probably not unfortunately. I am a very outgoing and loving person. And if I go back to cons, I will probably go hug like all my friends and not care as much as I should. Because I really miss them.
On the subject of hugs, I would just like to mention, because I think it's hysterically funny, the convention I'm going to next week has legitimately banned the carrying of free hug signs, and I felt like I just wanted to say that. No free hug signs.
Aww.
That's kind of sad, but given the time that it is, it's understandable. It's understandable. Just kind of trying to keep things safe, keep the distancing that we need until everything has blown over.
As far as I think the actual reason for the no free hug sign is in the city that this convention is in. That kind of sign counts as public solicitation, and you are not allowed to do that.
I remember hearing stuff about that too. It does sound like public solicitation, even though it is free and not exactly solicitation, but depends on where it is. And I'm sure there's issues with other like serious assault accusations and things like that sign might carry. So I know I've seen that banned because of that. As before, somebody with an assault accusation, and I was like, wow, that's sad, but let's not ever have that happen again. And it's just a preventative, and it's in good spirit, but when the good spirit is lost, then we have to solve the problem at hand. But yeah, just general con etiquette, be nice, be courteous to people around you, watch their space. Please don't break anything. Please don't hurt anything. Please don't touch costumes without permission. Don't take pictures without permission. Don't snap pictures from afar of somebody eating. Like, that's some of the rudest things you could ever do, is just take pictures of people on their off time. Like, yes, you see them and it's the character, as their off time, but that's a person as their off time. It's no longer the character as their off time. If they want to record themselves or take pictures of character as said off time, they will do it themselves and ask their friends to do it, because it is still kind of funny to meme on, going, look at insert Naruto character here eating like the biggest sandwich or a bowl of ramen or something. Like, we have Super Saiyan down here in Florida, and it's like, I'm for sure somebody has to go after Hallmat, like, in their Dragon Ball cosplay or some cosplay, and they're going to go there and take pictures in that place because it's so perfectly aesthetic. And same for if you wanted to go all the way out to Naruto too and match up those aesthetic pictures. But those would be the intentions, and that's going to be on them, and that is still not on you to take those photos from afar.
Yeah, definitely for that one. Yami, what about yourself? Some kind of self rules that you've made, and other rules that you think that are kind of unwritten people should abide by.
Okay, before I get into that, I do want to make a few comments on some things that were mentioned earlier. Okay, the 2008 thing again, I could kind of see that, because not to mention that cons are becoming smaller now, obviously because of the pandemic. Less people are going to cons, but it kind of makes it feel like it's 2008 again, because cons back then were a lot smaller. So that's one thing I've noticed. Free hug signs, ironically enough, the last holiday Matsuri, I did see somebody with a free hug sign, and I didn't expect to see that. It's just been ages since I've seen that. As far as glomping goes, I am probably the 1% that doesn't hate it, and that's probably because it's nostalgic to me. I could understand why other people wouldn't, like it. To me, it's kind of something that just reminds me of. I know I sound like an old man at this point. Reminds me of the old days of cons, and I'm surprised Egg didn't bring up the infamous Yaoi paddle.
I was gonna mention it. I was gonna say, if I see a yaoi paddle, I'm just gonna throw away the whole convention. But further on to joke about the 2008 thing, I am legitimately cosplaying as Hatsune Miku at this convention. As in, the actual meme of all meme cosplays, Hatsune Miku. 2008 was a great time, in all honesty.
I mean the Miku thing, it was more of like a 2011 thing. I think that's really when I started seeing Vocaloid cosplayers.
Oh, I also have to agree with Yami there. I actually really do like glumping, but only if they're people I know. Like, if my friends see me from across the convention center and they run and hug me, like, I'm okay with that. If it's like a stranger, maybe it'd be a different story, but I do like it. I remember myself like doing that to my friends when I saw them in high school and stuff.
Yeah, unwritten rules that I've made for myself, I guess, would be I always try to cosplay at cons. I always try to cosplay every day at cons, even though Sundays are like the worst day for me because I'm already tired and worn out from Friday, Saturdays, sometimes Thursday, depending on the convention. I try to do my best that I can in terms of cosplay, and the most important part, always try to have fun, because if you're not having fun, then it kind of defeats the purpose of even cosplaying or going to a con to begin with. I also always try to make new friends, as many as I can, and try to find people with similar interests, that are into the same series, cosplaying the same stuff. Try to not regret going there to begin with. There to have fun. That's, like I said, that's the most important thing. Try to make a good impression when meeting people. That's always important. And yeah, try to hang out with as many friends as I can that I know are going to be there. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and what about you, Iggy? Do you have any like rules that you follow yourself, and then maybe some rules that would help other people to follow when they go to conventions? I know by the sounds of it, Italy is pretty wild, so I imagine you have quite a few rules that you follow yourself to keep yourself in order.
So pretty much it's kind of the same, but at the same time it's not, because first of all, we never had the yaoi paddles. I know what they are, but we never actually have them, and I hope we never get them.
You're not missing much.
I know what they are. So I do enjoy the concept though, because I enjoy attention. So one of my main rules is bring water, bring food. Even if you have a handler, bring water, bring food, because these events are made just to make money. They're not made for for nerd culture or stuff like that. No, they're made to make money. So a small water bottle comes around like your equivalent of $3 to $4, a small water bottle. Then there is the trashy couple noodle. There is not even couple noodle. That is like almost $10. There is so much stuff that is expensive. So keep food, water. If you want some particular drink, just keep it on you, and bring money, a lot of money, because if it runs out, you're gonna be beheaded by all of this. Second rule is never push any cosplayer to do anything they don't want to. Like, even if you are, because there is a lot of people that do recordings and do videos in there. If a cosplayer was part of some, like, not controversy, what you call them, gaffes or mistakes in these videos, because when a cosplayer is in his costume, usually here it becomes that character. You can't have him like do some random shit that is kind of out of character. So don't push cosplayer to do, don't push them to try to do something that is like cringy or like out of character that could like embarrass them a lot. Like, seriously, there's been moments where I've seen cosplayers that were pushed to do like sexy dances
Oh, that's
for videos. Like, yeah, go ahead, Egg. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that's
Egg.
kind of embarrassing there, because that's yucky. I would never do that.
That's very yucky, because there is always that. I don't want to like insult anyone, but there is always the neck beardy guy that is with the heavy breath. I love you. I love your head.
Yeah.
Give a little booty shake. Like, don't do that. I know you're making a video. I know you're making pictures. If you see a cosplay that is like very revealing, just take a picture. Don't be a creep about it. This goes not just for the photographers and whatnot. No, this goes for the cosplayers too. I've seen cosplayers that did the worst things during picture time. Like, even if like there is as many of you said, there is kids in this event, and maybe it's not the best thing that they see their favorite character all of a sudden just maybe try and avoid everything like that.
Yeah, and like, even it's hard to kind of like, I've had run-ins myself. A lot of the cosplays I wear are revealing, so I try and have friends kind of by me to kind of pick up on that, because I'm bad at picking up on those kind of social cues. For myself, like, personally, rules that I follow, I'm disabled. I get very tired easily because of my arthritis. I always try and make it known, like, to my friends, hey, I have arthritis in my legs. We may not be able to walk the whole round, so can maybe we take a break? And keep in mind, like, if you're not feeling up to it, you can't really be forcing yourself to walk those whole loops. I know that they're tiring. And that's actually how I ended up in bed for 3 days one time, was not following that rule. So that's one rule I follow. Again, the other is to bring your own snacks, or think about, eating somewhere else, like a McDonald's or Tim Hortons. I know you guys don't have Tim Hortons there, but that's usually where I'm gonna end up going. So, in terms of, like, rules I follow personally at con, it's always, be sure to take breaks when you need them. Be sure to bring food, because spending $10 on a hot dog is, again, very ridiculous, no matter where you are. Another, like, kind of, again, rule I follow is, if a cosplayer looks busy or it looks like they're doing something, they probably don't want pictures taken. So, kind of avoid them, or, always ask first as well. I've seen it a lot where people will take pictures of cosplayers and they don't even know, like, they're just standing, like, buying something from the dealer's hall, and they will just still get pictures taken of them. I think asking a cosplayer is a very important thing. And even like if you like, and always respect if they say no. I had one time someone get very upset at me because, I was sitting down taking a break because I was very hurt at that point. Like I was not feeling too good because of my arthritis. And they had asked for a picture and they said no, and they they said some very not nice things to me because of that. Even if you think a cosplayer isn't busy or they don't look like they're doing very much, don't like it's upsetting that they said no, but know that there's always going to be a reason for them to say no. And I believe Egg has something to say, so
Just to build on from what you were saying about the not taking people's pictures and that some people get their picture taken while they are not realizing it, I should mention for all you first-time con goers out there that a lot of times conventions hire somebody to make a convention video. So if you do not want to be in the big convention video, avoid the guy with the video camera. Usually, if they're going to get a direct shot of you, they're going to ask. Every time because I've been in 2 music videos and I'm in a couple of convention videos, either really briefly or kind of off to the side, they usually will just
yeah,
end. But yeah, con videos are a thing.
I've seen them. I've never been in them. I've always wanted to be in one, but I've never been in one.
If you want to be in the one, don't follow my advice. Do the opposite.
Yeah.
Follow the guy with the camera.
That actually.
Also,
Don't actually follow the guy with the camera.
Don't.
Don't follow people. That's weird.
Also, please, if you see like a cosplayer that looks scary or not, don't put your kids next to it to take a picture. Please don't.
Yeah.
I'm the cosplayer that is tired after a whole day, and I will still take pictures because I had like 10 hours of just going around taking pictures and whatnot. And at the end, I need to hear this last minute goer that just says to his kid, Go next to him, go next to him," just to hear the kid scream. Please don't do that. If the kid is not if the kid is not comfortable with it, don't do it. Don't put it next to a horror or even a cosplay that just looks, I don't know, creepy or scary for the kid. If you see that it's uncomfortable, don't put it next to them because we don't want to hear them cry. We don't want them to cry because of what we're doing. I kind of point to scaring people, but not kids at that point because they're just trying to enjoy that time where they see their favorite character right there.
Kids know a lot of not kids, but like if you're with your kid and does not want to take a picture with somebody, don't force them. The kid is not going to enjoy it. Like, don't force anybody to be in a picture if they don't want to. And if you see somebody dressed as something that, like, say you're with your friend that they're afraid of, don't like trick them to go in that direction. 1, that's not cool. Don't treat your friends like that. 2, people tend to react very unexpectedly when they're scared. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter what anybody's cosplaying, the cosplayer in question does not want to have to deal with somebody's fight or flight response because you decided it would be funny to terrify your friend.
I'm guilty of that, like many times.
That actually kind of piggybacks ourselves right into the next episode. Like how do you approach a cosplayer, and then as cosplayers yourself, like how close is too close for you when it comes to communication or pictures?
If you can touch my shoulder pads, you're too close.
Yeah, but your shoulder pads are like 1 feet each.
I've been called out. Hey, my current one is only 46 inches across. I'm getting better. It's better than the 6-foot one. Marginally. but it is
That's
smaller.
quite big. My.
I said
I'll stop.
Egg-
I'll stop.
Egg says cancel doors. But anyway, yes, we are running out of time. Laz, Kit, Yami, is there anything else you guys want to say? Silence from the peanut gallery.
Sorry, no. My food just arrived, so I muted myself. But how close distance wise is like, don't right now, obviously follow social distancing rules and kind of be mindful of that. Like, if and be mindful of a person's costume, especially like with distance. If they have like a huge prop or like their costume is big, obviously if you're like really close and you can touch that, chances are you're probably too close to them and they wouldn't want you there. I've had people come up behind me while I was wearing a bodysuit, and I was 17 at the time, so it was really creepy, and it was riding up a little bit, and I've had someone come in too close and take pictures of that. So just you need to
Ew.
respect each other's boundaries and ask before you do that kind of stuff. Like, it was really gross, and my friend at the time had noticed it.
Yeah, I will say normally, just adding on one last rule, I'm the type of person who thinks it's not really acceptable to be yelling and screaming at an event, any kind of event, and especially given screaming is not a good thing. But if somebody is creeping on your friend or somebody's creeping on you, feel free to crank up the volume. Call them out. If there's people around you, let them hear. Say out real loud what this person is doing. Say, I do not want you to take a picture of me. I don't know you. Get loud. Let people hear you. And that usually either scares that person off, or if you make enough of a commotion, security will probably come over. At least here, security will come over and get rid of them.
All right, and that will, I think, wrap up this episode on, con etiquette and, how I think things will go with the rise of cons coming up again. Join us next time, where our gracious Iggy will be talking about cosplay budgeting and how thrifting is still a valid way to go.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.